Welcome back to the Everything Reselling podcast. It's another episode, and today the main topic of conversation is all about YouTube resellers, myself included. Are we ruining the game? What about BOLO sharing? And some people in the community actually hate us, and I use that word hate. I mean, that's harsh, isn't it? Anyway, let's explore all about this, and also we'll take any questions, any discussion points on any topic whatsoever. We'll see you after the intro. Hey, I'm Car Boot Chris. I'm a full-time UK online reseller. I operate mainly on eBay and also Whatnot, but also some other platforms as well. I'm going to bring you regular podcasts all about reselling, hopefully to keep you company, to entertain, or maybe to educate. Who knows? Welcome to the Everything Reselling podcast. Welcome back, everybody. It's another podcast, and I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening to the podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you are listening on one of the audio channels like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Alexa, and all that business, if you're listening on one of those right now, and you'd like to ask a question to me or post a discussion point for a future episode, then pop over and find us on YouTube, because that's where it all starts. And you can join us if you can just find us at Cookie and the Haydens. So that's my YouTube channel, Cookie and the Haydens. If you do want to put a question to me or have something discussed at a future podcast, just come and make a comment on one of our videos over on YouTube. Welcome to everybody in the YouTube chat right now. I really appreciate you all being here. As I mentioned in the introduction to the podcast, today we're going to mainly be talking about YouTube resellers, myself being one. So, I'm open to criticism as well. This whole question about are YouTube resellers ruining the game for everybody? It comes up on a regular basis. So we're going to try and talk about that. If you guys watching right now want to have a little bit of a think about some points we can talk about, good and bad, I'm happy to talk about either, because at the end of the day, you're watching me now. So that means you probably got an interest or you probably like my channel. So I don't want us to get a biased opinion. I want us to get an as balanced an opinion as possible. The pros and cons of YouTube resellers. Let's put it that way. Try and think on a balanced point of view, if indeed you can. Also, if you've got any other discussion points, questions in the chat here live on YouTube, then feel free to put it in. I'm happy to talk about any other subject you want. Just the main overarching one was going to be about the YouTube reselling content and stuff. So have a think about it. Let me know if you've got anything you want to talk about. Before we get going, if you're new to the podcast, my name's Car Boot Chris. I'm a full-time reseller. I've been an official reselling business since 2015. So we're 9 years in now. The first 4 of those years I was part-time, and then since 2019 I've been a full-time reseller. I operate on eBay. I operate on Whatnot. I hope to operate properly on Vinted in the future once that starts up, Vinted Pro. That's about it, really. I've dabbled in Amazon, I've dabbled in Depop, and I've dabbled in Etsy, but not to any great real sort of success. So I've kind of narrowed it down at the moment to eBay and Whatnot, and hopefully, fingers crossed, for Vinted as soon as they release the Pro version of that. I'm seeing quite a few people live here in the chat, so thank you for joining us. I'm going to just ping up a quick question here from Secret Carper. Thank you for your question. Secret Carper says, since you've gone over to free post, Do you think there's been an increase in sales and was it worth it? Now, Carper, that is a very, very good question. It's almost impossible to answer it, to be fair, because you don't know what it would have been like if I hadn't switched. There's so many variables at play when it comes to like your sales and your traffic. Um, it's very hard to say. What I will say was when I first changed, for about 7 days after I changed to free post, I flipped everything to free post. I didn't really see much change, but then after 7 days, I did see quite an uptake. Now, who knows? That might have been a natural uptake, time of year, payday period. It could be anything. I could have been listing much better stock at that week. There's so many variables, it's hard to know. But I did see an uptake after 7 days. Initially, no. After 7 days, yes. But now it's like I'm just operating on free postage. I can't say for sure whether it's really affecting me in a positive way or not because eBay is such a roller coaster, as you know. We never really know when we make these changes, unless you instantly see us change straight away. It's very hard to say if these tweaks we make to our accounts actually really do anything. It's very hard to say. Well, I wonder what would happen if I tomorrow suddenly turned off free postage and put on paid postage again on everything. Would I see a major dip in sales? I'm not going to test it because I'm quite happy with the free post at the moment. And whenever I test something, I always lose out. I always end up losing money or something. I have a crappy week on eBay or something. So I don't know is the answer, Secret Carper. Husty's Emporium here on YouTube, and thank you for your purchase as well. Appreciate it. Um, let's just say there are positives and negatives to everything. It's totally true, Husty. It is totally true. And to be fair, like for me as a YouTuber reseller, it's positives and negatives for me as well. And we'll talk about that, at some point during this podcast because it's not all roses for me either. So, then I'm thinking, why the hell am I doing it? I don't know. Because I enjoy it. Here we go. Secret Carper's got a question. Do you get many sales from your YouTube subscribers? If so, it can only be a positive issue if you ask me. I do get some sales. I mean, I just mentioned Husty. Husty's Emporium purchased something based on me sharing it on YouTube earlier this week, and the deal is done. It's arrived, sold, done. So no fees. Excellent. I do make some sales, definitely do. I get messages on Instagram saying, saw you pick up something on a recent video. How much do you want for it? Can we do a deal or whatever? So yeah, I do get sales. So that is a positive aspect of it for sure. I think obviously the bigger channel you have, the more audience you have, and therefore the more chances you have of making sales on YouTube. I seem to remember when I was early days, maybe up to about 2,000-3,000 subs. Maybe I didn't really sell that much via YouTube, but then after that, once your audience, it only makes sense once your audience grows. So do your sales. But I don't actually do it for that reason. It's like a byproduct that I don't really do it for that reason. I mean, I have done shows where I've done auctions and stuff like that just to see how it goes, but very rarely. I don't do it that often anymore. Sharon, the flipping northerner, says, "I wish Vinted would hurry up and launch Pro." I know they seem to announce it ages ago, Shaz, and it's just gone quiet since then, hasn't it? How long ago was it announced? Was it about 6 months ago? It must be now. But yeah, it's gone very, very quiet. But I keep seeing little things on the Vinted app. Like the other week, I noticed that if you go to your homepage, like your profile on Vinted, I noticed that right at the bottom of the page where it's got like T's and C's and the copyright thing at the bottom, I noticed that they'd put terms and conditions for Vinted Pro. Now, actually, when I talked about it live, like later in the day or something, I went on it live and it had gone. So they're definitely writing stuff in the background. They're definitely building stuff into the app. It seems like they make it live to see if it works and then quick take it down because we're not ready yet. You know what I mean? So I feel like it is coming fairly soon, but who knows? I'm just guessing at the end of the day. I'm no expert on it. I haven't got any inside knowledge. They seem to keep Vinted seem to keep things very close to their chest, don't they? Um Lin on YouTube says, I must admit, I always go for free postage when I buy online. Oh, okay, Lin, that's interesting. See, I don't. I'm not really that bothered because as long as what I'm buying, I account for the postage. Because what if it's something that's a bit unusual, like a collectible item or something? I'm not too worried about paying the postage on it because I'll just like think of the price including postage. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it. But it's interesting that you say that. Um, Lots of people joining. Thank you everybody for popping along to today's podcast. I went at a little bit of a different time today, so we could try and get a few different people. Love United says, personally, I wouldn't say no. I love your tips. I gather, and the community feeling is great. That's nice to hear. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you get something from it. Um, Husty's Emporium says, you have a community that's interested in you and what you do, and that's a very positive thing. Yeah, that's true. And I do appreciate it. Honest to God, I do. And there's always going to be naysayers and negative people just got to ride those waves. Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's lots of negatives and lots of negative people. I guess when I was writing this idea for a podcast, it kind of came up because I noticed and some of you guys might have seen it as well. I noticed a post in one of the Facebook reselling groups that was talking about YouTube resellers, and I was reading through some of the comments, and it comes up on a regular basis. This topic of conversation, and it just made me think. You know what? Let's have an open chat about it. We do talk about it now and again. But let's talk about it, again. Let's have an open conversation because I'm open to hearing what people say, good or bad. But something that I did see in that particular thread of conversation was that a couple of people actually used the word hate, and I just thought, wow, I don't think there's actually much or anything that anyone that I genuinely hate in this world. It's a pretty damning comment to say you hate someone or people that do something. If you think about the strength of the word, it's a pretty strong word. And it just made me think, they don't know me. They don't know. And they weren't talking about me, I don't think. I mean, they were obviously including me in their hate, but I think it was YouTube resellers in general. But it just seemed a bit harsh. Nigel on YouTube says, I tend to charge postage on multi-item listings as I feel buyers thinking they are saving on postage drives extra sales and free postage on single items. Oh, that's an interesting way of doing it, Nigel. Yeah, I totally understand that. I never really thought of doing it like that. I just think I don't have that many like multi-item listings anyway, so it wouldn't be something that I would do. But when I'm like doing things, just as a general, I like to keep things like quite simple. I know, like for example, some people when they do promoted listings on eBay, they'll have like, oh, I'll do 2% on electronics and I'll do 5% on clothing because that's a more saturated market. But I'll do 10% on computer games because I've got a lot of competition in computer games, so I need to be at the top of it. I can't do that. because I just find that way too overcomplicated. Not that it's the wrong way to do it, just my personal preference. So I just like to go blanket on everything. I just like to be able to say everything in my store is free postage, or all my promoted listings are 10%. I can't be bothered doing 1% on this, 2% on that, 5% on that, and 10% on that. It's not how my sort of brain works. I don't really like micromanaging stuff like that. Let's go through the chat and see what else we've got. Nigel also says, I tend to use free postage just because eBay hints at getting seen in their listings more. Yes, I definitely think that does work. But also, like Lin said earlier, she actually likes to search for things that are free postage, and she prefers to buy from free postage. It's definitely a psychological aspect. ANPR has got a comment here. Now, this is interesting. ANPR says, if somebody asked me, I want to start reselling, have you got any advice? I'd say watch some reseller YouTubers for tips. Okay. Yeah, why not? I mean, most of what we say, myself included, is relatively simple, isn't it? We don't tend to sort of give any information that most people shouldn't know already. So it is perfect for those that are just starting up. It's like a lot of you guys watching and listening right now are seasoned resellers. You have operated on eBay and other platforms for many, many years. You don't really need a lot of the information that I or other resellers give on YouTube. So yeah, that's an interesting point, ANPR. It kind of moves me on to something that I wrote down before I started the podcast today, and it was I just wrote down entertainment or knowledge. What do you guys watch reselling YouTubers for? What's the main thing? Is it for the entertainment or is it for some knowledge? I'd be interested to hear, so I'll keep a monitor on the chat for that. Zebu says on YouTube, it's funny because those people support large billionaire businesses, but one individual person trying to make a living, they hate. Yeah, that's a good point. Emsden, welcome to the chat. Emsden UK, fellow YouTuber and reseller. Emsden say, on an older video telling people about the value of Bratz dolls, we had the following comment. Please don't. Leave them for collectors, not reselling scum. Wow. I tell you what, Emsden, you don't half get some horrible comments. Horrible comments. What people don't understand as well is, right, reselling as a profession is older than prostitution. Everybody thinks prostitution is the oldest profession that known to man. It's not. Pretty sure reselling is. I mean, and farming probably is up there. But since the beginning of time, people have traded goods or bought items and resold them for profit to make a living. Tesco is a reseller. They buy stuff at a cheaper price, at wholesale prices, and they put it on their shelves for a markup to make a living. Amazon themselves are resellers. You know, it just beggars belief how people hate. Actually, a lot of people just hate resellers in general. Charity shops themselves are resellers. They get stuff mostly for free, and then they sell it on. I'm not begrudging them that. I used to work for a charity. But they hate resellers, but they are resellers themselves, as in the shops. I mean, it is crazy what people's opinions are of resellers. People more than happy to go down to Morrison's and Asda and buy their weekly shop, spend a fortune on their weekly shop, but then criticize resellers for picking something up at a boot sale and selling it for a higher markup. It's exactly this. It's no difference. It's supply and demand. You need your eggs, you need your milk, you need your ham, you need whatever you need. So you buy it from Tesco because they're providing it. Same as you need your soft toy, you need your birthday presents. You go on eBay, you buy it from whoever's got what you want. By gum. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? AC Global, right, has hit the nail on the head with this comment because I have this written down myself. AC Global says, if as a reseller you think that YouTubers sharing knowledge is a threat to your business, then your business is not very strong. If you're established and you work hard enough, competition should not be a threat. Absolutely right, in my opinion, as well, AC Global. Thank you for that. I have written down a quote that fellow YouTuber in the US who I'm friends with, Jason T. Smith. Most of you guys will know because we've interviewed each other, we've done podcasts and all sorts. We are friends. We've been friends for quite a while. And I asked him this question about YouTube resellers once, and it's pretty much what AC here says. And Jason said to me, if you think your business is failing because of YouTubers, then you've got a shit business. And when he said it, the penny dropped with me. Just like what AC Global has said here. The penny dropped with me, and I just thought, you know what? You're absolutely right. So if there's someone here watching and you're of the opinion that us YouTubers, myself included, who are also resellers, have damaged your business, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to put it bluntly. Your business needs to change. Chop Chop Busy says reseller YouTubers actually are providing an opportunity to discover a revenue that can help a low income person to change their circumstances. That's a good point. I like that, Chop Chop, because I've not written that down, but this is why I like having these open chats about things, because people bring up points and conversation that I'd not thought of. Yeah, and especially right now, Chop Chop, right now when people's purse strings are really, really tight and stretched, um, to have an opportunity to go out, find something that you can resell and make a bit of profit that can help you pay your bills, help you buy your shopping. Yeah, definitely. And there are lots of people actually that have come into reselling just to make a few quid, just to kind of make ends meet. I've had loads of comments where people have said, "Oh, you've helped me to sort of make a few quid," which is nice. Whether these people, I think most people don't end up staying in reselling, or definitely don't end up being full-time resellers. I think it's a lot harder than most people think. Helen here on YouTube says, I watch firstly for knowledge, but also for entertainment. So a bit of both for Helen. Jeff Jeff on YouTube says, I think most people tune in to see Cookie. Cookie, for those listening, is our dog. That's why our YouTube channel is called Cookie and the Haydens. But yeah, although Cookie doesn't make that many appearances these days. Superman Alex says, I watch for the entertainment and the knowledge. I'm just scared to take the next step. What should I do? Oh, so you're not a reseller yet, Superman. The best thing to do if you're interested in starting, I always say pretty much the same thing to everybody. If you're interested in starting reselling, the best thing to do is to sell some of your own gear first. Get yourself used to the way eBay works. Get yourself used to how returns work, how the back end and the dashboard on eBay works. Build up some feedback. Understand how you package, post, and weigh all your items. And that is the way to do it. And also, of course, the stock essentially is not costing you anything. I know it cost you something at the start when you first bought it, but if these are items just sat in your wardrobe or whatever, or sat in your toy boxes, that you can just sell, without initial outlay, that's the way to go for me. Nigel says, I watch resellers for their workflow and community company. Good point. I like that. Zebu has got a comment here. The funniest thing is 90% of the products on Amazon are not even owned by Amazon. True. It's all wholesalers and smaller resellers fronting the goods. I'm guessing they don't know this. Many people don't know that, you know. A lot of people out there just think they're buying from Amazon. They don't realize they're actually buying from small businesses who operate on Amazon. Emsden UK said, we think YouTube resellers have really improved our business as they've done a lot of the research and then share their knowledge with us, which widens our knowledge base. Yeah, good point. Although you are slightly biased, Emsden, because you are also reselling YouTubers. But it is a fair point. Yeah, people share knowledge. I mean, Emsden do it. If you've ever watched Emsden on YouTube, they are often doing videos where they share knowledge on specific subjects. Like they'll pick a certain product line, like Barbie dolls, or I can't remember what you've done now, but you've done loads of stuff, electronics, and you know you'll do like a deep dive on it, and that's great to have that on in the background while you work as a reseller. I think is great, and I bet a lot of those that are haters on us reseller YouTubers actually secretly, and you know it, you're watching, you're listening right now, you know it. You probably have some people on in the background because why not? At the end of the day, we are sharing some stuff that might be useful. Even if it's not like knowledge on how eBay works, it might be knowledge on products or BOLOs or things to look out for, or what did I pick up that was amazing that's worth loads of money, you know. I bet there's quite a few who hate on us, but actually secretly watch us, although they probably never admit it. AC Global says, I watch for knowledge and entertainment. My favorite YouTuber is Master of Pieces, Ian. Yeah, I like Ian. And I don't even sell toys, but I can relate to him a lot as a fellow part timer. Shaz says, I volunteer at a local charity shop. I was upfront from the start about what I do, and they don't mind as long as they get the price for their charity. They're not fussed about what I do with items I buy. It's funny you should talk about that, Shaz, because I work for a charity, and I got hauled into the office once. My job at the charity was events organizer. So I was an events organizer, but I also used to spend my hard-earned wages that I was paid by the charity in their own charity shops, buying stuff to resell on a part-time basis. And I got hauled into the office for that, and I got told, "No more. You don't buy our stock." And yeah, we had a bit of a ding dong. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not the kind of person to have a ding dong, but I was pretty fuming, to be honest. I was spending money that they were paying me to do my job in their own charity shops, putting money back, giving my earnings back to them for stuff that they got for free. You can understand how annoyed I was. Um, but yeah, from that point onwards, I never bought a single thing from them from any of their charity shops, and what a shame because I was, happy to spend money, especially the charity I work for and the charity I supported. I was very, very disappointed with that. Really disappointed. I wasn't angry. I was just disappointed. Ryan says, I watch to get motivated to list. That's a good point. I like that one. Nigel says, you do get some good knowledge bombs from YouTubers. I was woken up to being ripped off with bubble wrap. Yeah, well, I'm glad. It's not just me who was getting ripped off with bubble wrap. We were all getting ripped off with bubble wrap. Yeah, for those listening, if you're not aware, I would highly recommend you measure your 100-meter rolls of bubble wrap because there's a lot of companies out there been shortchanging us. And I mean, I did a video on YouTube and I got how long was it, guys? Was it 56 meters or 60 meters out that was meant to be a 100-meter roll? I'd been buying from that company for several years and I must have been shortchanged by hundreds of pounds because they were sending me 60 meters instead of 100 meters. It's an absolute scandal that's going on right now with this. You need to check your bubble wrap rolls. But yeah, that was a situation that came up via YouTube. I wouldn't have known. I watched that on a YouTube channel called Married to Reselling. Hopefully, some of you do watch those. They're very well known in the community. But if they hadn't made that video, I'd still be buying 60-meter rolls that were meant to be 100 meters. Shaz says, I watch for both entertainment and knowledge on different things to buy. It's a great community. Everyone's very friendly. Only met my mate Sophie, but I feel I know more people, although never met them. Yeah, I'm the same. We've not met that many. We have met a few, but we haven't met that many. And don't forget, I might be a YouTube reseller, a YouTuber. But I also watch a lot of YouTubers and I've got a lot of friends through this. Like you, Shaz, even if we don't meet them very often or meet them at all, we still consider them friends. But so yeah, it is a good community. And it's lonely as well. You know, working on your own like this without any work colleagues, so to speak, it can be quite tough. So it is nice to have a bit of a community. Shaz, they were awful. There was another incident which I'll tell you privately about, but it was one nail in the coffin of me, like knowing I wasn't going to be working there forever. You know, when something happens and you just think, "Oh, I thought this job was going to be long term, but now I feel like I don't want to work here." That was one nail, and there was another big nail in the coffin, which you would never have imagined a charity would do. Which made me think I can't work here anymore, and that's when I ended up being a full-time reseller. What a shame. But I will tell you that in private one day when we do we will do a call on the Discord soon, a group call, and I'll remind me to tell you about what that was, and I will tell you. I'll share with the group. Jeff's got a really useful point here, really interesting point. The idea that somebody is upset with who buys what they're selling or what they do with it afterwards is dumbfounding. It totally is, Jeff. I can't get my head round it. I can't get my head round why somebody would care as long as you pay a fair price or a price that somebody's happy with. Why would someone care what you do with it afterwards? It's nobody's business, is it? Fluffy Muffin says, I love the reselling community. Please remind me, Shaz. Yes. I will share it with the Discord group. It's not something I want to share publicly, but I'll share it among trusted friends. AC Global says some charity shops' attitude is baffling regarding resellers. Over the last 3 years, I've spent £17,500 in charity shops, and I'm only part-time. Show me a regular customer who's spent that much. Absolutely, Global. Absolutely. I mean, that's a lot of money, isn't it? I used to spend a lot in charity shops, but now obviously prices are going up. Charity shops must be feeling the pinch right now. Unless more and more people, because they are struggling financially, they are going into charity shops and they are paying higher prices. But compared to what they were a few years ago, charity shops must be feeling the pinch because I think a lot of resellers are not going in and spending their money in charity shops. And it's a real shame because I would love to spend my money in a charity shop, put back into the community and put back into a good cause. Can't remember really the last time I bought anything in a charity shop, and that's really sad to say. It really is. One of the I wrote a few things down. So I started off writing down, are we ruining the game? And then I put BOLO sharing. What do you all think about that? Now, if you're listening, you think, what the heck is a BOLO? Well, it's a term that we use in the community for be on the lookout. Just forget the. Be on the lookout. And it's things that you can find relatively cheap that could end up being worth a lot of money. Like, for example, I would probably describe a Sony Walkman as a BOLO because you can find them at boot sales and they can be worth a decent amount of money. So it's a bit of a BOLO. Or what about the Flat Eric plush toy? I consider that a BOLO. Sometimes though, people put out what they would think are BOLOs, but they're almost things that you're almost never going to find. You know, something worth a lot of money, but almost impossible to find. Whereas I prefer to think of a BOLO as something that's possible to find that's worth a lot of money. You know what I mean? But BOLO sharing, let me know what you think about that. Um, we all share it as YouTubers. We all share nice pickups because we like to share when we found something worth a lot of money. It's only natural. It's I'll stop short of saying it's a boast because I'd like to think I don't do it like as a boast. But I like to think that when I share a bolo, I share it because I want to give you the knowledge to look out for it rather than it's, oh, look what I found. I'm amazing. I found it. I'm not amazing. I was lucky enough to walk past a stall and I saw something on the floor that nobody else had seen. It's not because I'm amazing. It's because I was just lucky that day. Sometimes, a lot of the time at boot sales, it's just about luck, isn't it? And if you've got that little bit of knowledge, you do need to have that little bit of knowledge. And that's where YouTubers do actually help, I think. They give you just a little bit of knowledge in your brain of what to look for. Most of the time, it comes through experience. You know, you pick things up, it's worth a lot of money, you'll look out for it again. You pick something up, it's a load of shit, you lose money on it, or it's worth next to nothing, you don't pick it up again. You know what I mean? Yeah, Husty said, things come and go and market prices are constantly changing. So in regards bolos, yeah, sometimes bolos change. I mean, the Question of Sport game, the original Question of Sport board game with the cards, they were big bolos at one point, but the market's saturated now, isn't it? I don't think they're quite as much of a bolo as what they were. But is that down to YouTube resellers sharing it too many times? I don't know. Maybe that's a negative. Are we sharing these bolos and saturating the market? Husty says, "Are you ever going to find a Tiffany and Co pedometer? I doubt I'll ever find another one." Yeah, and you see, that's where I would say it's not a bolo. It's just a piece of knowledge that you have for something that's really worth a lot of money. For me, I always like to think of a bolo as something that it's possible. It's out there. It's like Sony Walkmans, Flat Erics. They're the examples I'm giving because they're the things that spring to mind. You know, you can pick them up for £1 and they can sell for 50, 60, 70 pound, even more some like Walkmans. So for me, because it's possible, it's better to have that knowledge. Like to have the knowledge of a Tiffany and Co pedometer, it's nice knowledge, but I'm not going to wander around the car boot specifically looking for a Tiffany and Co pedometer. So therefore, in my mind, it's not a bolo. It's just the way I process things. Fluffy Muffin says, I think sharing a bolo is great. If someone somewhere is struggling with bills and they realize they have a bolo tucked up in a cupboard, it might give them a brief financial break. Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point, Fluffy Muffin. AMPR has a question here. Giving a buyer positive feedback. I think, Chris, you said you give it as soon as the customer pays. I only give positive once I've received it first. once I've received it first. To me, that concludes the transaction. Yeah, that's fair enough, AMPI. Yeah. As a seller, I give feedback immediately once somebody is paid, because as far as their job's done, that's done. But as a buyer, I give feedback once I've received it. So the same as you there. Once I've received it and I'm happy with it, I'll give feedback. So yeah. But yeah, in my opinion, and I kind of got this off Jason T. Smith, because this is one of his sort of mantras. It's once a buyer has paid for their item, their part is done. So therefore, if you're happy with that payment, you should give them positive feedback. I know it's a personal preference, and I kind of follow it. I've not really had any major issues with it, so I've stuck with it. AC Global said, I shared on Instagram an M&M cassette tape. I saw you share that one. Found for 50p, which goes for about £100. Nice. I probably found the only ever one in my area, but it may help someone else in another part of the country. Fair enough. Yeah. Why not? I think it's one of them that's a possible. Now that you've mentioned that, AC, I'll probably just, when I'm looking at cassettes, I'll probably have in my mind M&M cassettes. I might not remember the exact cassette that you picked up, but if a lot of the time you can get cassettes for like 50p, can't you? So if I see M&M cassettes, I'll probably just buy them if they're cheap, and then hope that I've got a decent one there. Always outnumbered on YouTube has got a comment. The reselling landscape will change next January when eBay starts handing over data to HMRC. People will then be fuming at YouTubers not promoting the legality of reselling. Probably. They'll always find something to be fuming at us for. Good afternoon to everybody else who's joined us here on YouTube. We're currently in the middle of a chat all about YouTube resellers and are we ruining the game for everybody else? Please put your comments in, or if you've got any questions or discussion points about anything else to do with reselling, I'll happily take those questions. Just referring back to my little list, here's one for you. Do you think that as a YouTuber reseller like me, do you think perhaps a positive to come out of it is that we actually promote places like car boot sales, which when people see the possibilities that you have at boot sales, there's more sellers there to sell, and there's more buyers that come to buy, and therefore helps boot sales stay alive. Because I think boot sales right now have never been I don't think they've been as strong as what they are now. I think they're the strongest they've been for quite a while. I mean, I know sort of COVID kind of cocked it all up a bit for everyone, didn't they? And some of those boot sales have never returned post COVID. But I think these last couple of years, and maybe like a year before COVID, boot sales were very, very strong. And I do actually genuinely think that YouTubers have helped to promote boot sales and keep them alive. And it's part of the reason why I do like to film at the boot sales. And it's one of the things I always say to boot sale organizers when I'm talking to them. I'm like, I'm a supporter of boot sales. I want to see as many sellers here as possible, and also as many buyers as possible, because a thriving boot sale, busy on both sides, buying and selling, is good for everybody, because sellers will feel like they're making money. Buyers will feel like they're buying some good stuff, and they'll come back again the week after, and they'll come back the week after, and it'll get busier and busier up to, hopefully capacity of a boot sale. And that's what I always say to boot sale organizers. I'm a supporter of boot sales. I film and I share because I want you to do well. Because if you're doing well, I'm doing well as a buyer. There was a couple of boot sales down in Devon. One specifically, Peacock Meadow in Devon. The organizers there are absolutely lovely people. They ran a great boot sale. If you're ever down in Plymouth, look out for Peacock Meadow Car Boot, right? They were so appreciative of me filming at the boot sale because they always said to me that people used to come and buy and sell, and they'd tell them that they'd seen it on YouTube. And they were so happy with me filming there that they used to hand out my little YouTube card. I haven't got one to hand, but it was just a business card I had that promoted the YouTube channel. I always used to give it to people when I'm out at a boot sale. So they used to hand that out for me at the gate to everybody coming in. It was so nice of them, so appreciative. Um, and then you get the opposite ends of the scale, people that organizers that actually hate you filming and forbid you from filming. They say, "Nope, no filming here, no filming here." And that's really frustrating because I always try not to film people. I always say I don't film people. I film things that I find. I film tables. I film products that I pick up and look at. I film treasure that I discover. I don't purposely film people. But some boot sales just don't get it. They don't understand it. And that's a real shame for them because they're missing out on some great free advertising. There's nothing better than, you know, some of my videos, some of my boot sale videos have got over 10,000 views. There's even one or two with over 30,000 views. And that's completely free advertising. You can't beat it because people will watch that and think, oh, I might go and sell there. Or I might go there and buy myself. I might go there next weekend. And that happens a lot. So yeah, if you're down in Plymouth, make sure you visit Peacock Meadow. Lovely, lovely organisers and a fantastic boot sale. That. Let's go back to the YouTube chat and see what we've got. Fines and Flips says, I wouldn't have a clue about the game if it wasn't for YouTube resellers. Not a bad thing at all. There's YouTubers that teach you how to do any business. Don't see salespeople crying over sales mentors. Very true. Yeah. You can find out how to do anything on YouTube these days, can't you? So why is reselling any different? I think that's a really good point. You can fix your car, you can discover accounting, you can work out anything. The first thing I do if something goes wrong, or I need to fix something, or I need to build something, or whatever, I go on YouTube to find out how to do it because somebody will have made a video on it. So yeah, good point that. Lyndon said, I would love to see more yard sales over here. Yeah, me too. Especially in the summer, obviously. I wish there was more yard sales. I don't know. There's a few that happen around here. There's one round the corner from me who regularly do a yard sale, and it's great. They just advertise it on Facebook in their local groups, and they say, oh, we're doing a yard sale, and, feel free to come along. They get to sell stuff from their home, from their front garden, and there's no pitch fees, there's no fees to be paid, and they get to nip in and out the house when they choose, go and get a brew when they want, go to the toilet. It's great. Jeff says, people who don't want to be filmed whilst out in public are probably up to no good. Probably, Jeff. Probably. Yeah, you're probably right. The Dave says it's a great community. We would never have met in real life, being spread out all around the world. Good on online resellers on YouTube. If you didn't do lives or vlogs, our paths would never have crossed. True. There's been so many opportunities that come up through YouTube. And not just for me, just for you guys as well as viewers. If you're not a YouTuber, just as a viewer, opportunities come up for meetups and exchanging information with people who sell similar things and making friends through the chats. I mean, I'm the same because I'm a viewer as well as a YouTuber. So many opportunities come up. Let's go back to my list. Something that resellers on YouTube do. What's your opinion on paying for information? Now, this is really contentious. A lot of people have a real negative opinion on this. Um, and when I say paying for information, different YouTubers do different things. Some people have memberships. I have a membership. Some people sell courses or spreadsheets or like crib sheets with information on. Some people have apps that they've created that they want to sell to their community. There's meetups, but also there's conferences. Let's not go there, but let's go there. Are the all these things? I charge for a membership, which mainly includes a Discord, but it's a relatively small amount of money. I mean, you can't possibly think that I'm making any money out of it. I'm not making any money out of it. Basically, get about from my membership, it's $2.99 a month, and it's basically to create a small community on Discord, a small community who want to support the channel, and that then enables me to spend a little bit of money on the channel. So when things need um, replacing, like microphones and stuff, or when we do our Monday night lives, we give away prizes. It helps pay for all the postage I have to pay to send prizes out, although a lot of people provide prizes for us, which is great. But I send a lot of stuff out of the post to people from YouTube, so it kind of pays for that. But if you think about it, when someone pays $2.99 for my membership, I get about £2 of that. So I get about £2 a month out of the 2.99 because the other 99p goes to YouTube. Now, YouTube take a third of your any YouTube earnings you get, super chats, super comments, or whatever, memberships. YouTube take a third of it. So I get about £2 for every person that joins a month. So it's definitely not about the money. And I've always said I considered just creating a free community on Discord and just saying whoever wants to join can join for free. But the problem you do when you offer something like that for free is you get hundreds of people just joining, and then people are not active because they're just there because of fear of missing out or being nosy or just to take information and not give back. And that's why I thought it was a good idea to just make a small charge to join, because when you make a small charge, it just focuses people a little bit. It's like, okay, I actually want to be in this group. I'm not in it because it's free. I'm in it because I want to be in it. And I'll just pay a small fee just to be there, and it enables me to just continue it and administrate it and stuff. It takes time to deal with it all. But some people offer courses. I don't offer anything else that's paid. Some people pay for the conferences, the meetups, and all that kind of stuff. So it's no different than any other form of education you might want to pay for. I don't begrudge anybody charging for something that's got value. So if you wanted to set up something like, there's also like the next level and all the apps and the Amazon Discord groups and stuff that you can get. They're all paid services as well. I don't begrudge anybody charging for a service or a product if it gives you value that you're happy to pay for, or knowledge. Why not? We pay for knowledge throughout life. Why is reselling different? I'd like to see what your thoughts are on it. Gary says, I got a question of sport with all the once wanted cards listed for $24.99 when the cards were apparently once going for hundreds. Yeah, I think the price has gone on the. I mean, obviously, if it's like a full set and it's £1, it's still worth picking up for that. But I think if you're hoping to get hundreds out of the cards, I think that's gone now. I never found a single one, by the way. AC Global says, I can understand paid membership if you're learning from the best in that field. For example, tech and sport was the #1 seller in all men's clothing categories, so you can learn a lot. Yeah, fair dues. Fair dues, absolutely. Also, AC said, I didn't agree with Daily Refinement, though, who was charging for how to sell on eBay when he was banned from eBay. Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? It's a tricky one, that. How can you really have the integrity to charge for... Obviously, he was a big seller for a long time on eBay, but in reality, I guess, got kicked off eBay. Can you really charge for knowledge on eBay anymore? Probably not, really. Not. And Husty says, it's a secret sauce you pay for. Ooh, secret sauce. Anyone can teach you how to list, what to sell, etc., but how exactly to sell it, and all eBay's little nuances now. Yeah, it's that you can pay for. Yeah, yeah, true. Takes a long time to get all that, gather all that knowledge, doesn't it? Takes you years to sort of get to that point where you feel like you understand how a platform ticks. Obviously, none of us really know how eBay ticks, but we know how it operates, and what to do in certain circumstances. You know what I mean? Tea Cakes has got a comment. Nobody would pay for what goes on in my head. Evening Tea Cakes, welcome to the chat, the podcast. Somebody made a comment. I was talking earlier about, there was a comment in the Facebook group about, opinions on YouTube resellers. And somebody said something about having selfies with YouTubers. I've had selfies. He might have even been talking about me. I don't know. I'm not that bothered. But people have asked me for selfies, believe it or not, at boot sales. And the person who made the comment says, "Oh, pull the other one or something. Having selfies with a YouTuber, it's a joke or whatever. Something, words to that effect." I've asked people for selfies myself. As a viewer of another channel, I've asked M's Den. When we were with M's Den, I asked them for a selfie. I've had selfies with Money Mental. I've had selfies with ABL Dave. I've had selfies with Nick and Andrea. I've had selfies with Drink and Dive Dumpster Divers, because I watch them and I like their channel. I like their personalities, and why? What's wrong with asking somebody for a selfie? Right. If somebody stops me at a boot sale and says, "Can I have a selfie?" Do you honestly think I'm gonna say no? I mean, I'd look like an absolute cunt if I said no to somebody. Now, can you imagine that person who commented in the group to say, imagine what they'd have to say about me or other YouTube resellers if we were refusing selfies? If we were saying, "No, I'm a YouTuber, I can't give selfies." I mean, come on. You can't have it all ways. I ask people for selfies. I asked Jeff, aka Santa, when we were in the US for a selfie because we supported him and what he does as Santa in North Carolina. We wanted a selfie with Santa. I'm sorry, but we wanted a selfie. What the hell does it matter? If people want a selfie with me, it's more awkward for me than it is for them. Trust me. What does it matter if someone wants a selfie with me? Why have people got these bees in their bonnets? I don't get it. I mean, is it jealousy? Because I can't see what else it is. I don't know why people are jealous of us. I don't know why, because it's actually pretty hard work being a YouTuber reseller. It's hard work. It's time consuming. I could make a lot more money just spending my time listing and selling on eBay. I could make a lot more money, trust me. But I enjoy what I do. I enjoy sharing my journey, and I enjoy looking back on it myself. I enjoy like helping people if they want some help. Um, it just beggars belief, some people's attitudes to it all. It's quite sad really that people have that thought that, if somebody wants a selfie with me, why not? Who does it hurt? If I see anybody who's a YouTuber, I might shake their hand and say hello, or I might say, "Should we get a selfie?" It'd be fun. It's nice to have one. I know. Emsden. We love our photo with you. It's on our fridge. Well, you know what, Emsden? Yours is on our fridge. So we've got fridges that look very similar right now. So who cares? I want a selfie with Emsden. And if you don't like it, as long as Emsden are okay with it, if anyone else doesn't like it, you can stick it up your pipe and smoke it. Nigel's got a fair point. Friends take selfies with each other all the time. If you're part of the community and you're a friend, although perhaps not a bestie. But yes, yeah, why not? If you watch somebody, on YouTube, if you support their channel and you spot them at a boot sale, I get it. I get it. You might want a selfie, or at the very least, you might want to approach and say hello. Nice to meet you. Shake your hand. Thanks for the videos. I don't mind. It sometimes feels awkward for me as the YouTuber, but because I don't consider myself any different from the next person, so it's awkward for me. But I still get it because I'd done it to other people as well. Santa says, "I've taken thousands of selfies. Always happy to do them. It's all about putting smiles on faces." Yeah, I like that one. Fridge buddies, Emsden say. Welcome to everyone in the chat. South London Resellers popped in as well. Welcome to you. Tea Cake says the jealous are troublesome to others but torment themselves. Nice quote. And the last thing I wanted to say, what are these secrets? What are these mythical secrets that we're all giving away by doing YouTube? Because that's probably the most common thing that I see written is that YouTube resellers are giving away all the secrets. What is it? Is it the BOLOs? Is it the fact that you can pick something up for £1 and sell it for £20? What's the secret? I mean, who was it? He mentioned Husty mentioned before about secret sauce. I don't know. Is that what I'm giving away? The secret sauce? What are these secrets? Somebody tell me what the secrets are, because I don't know. I ain't got a clue. Yeah, there's some strange old comments out there. If you're watching this back now and you're one of those who don't really like us, which is fair enough. You don't have to like everyone. I don't like everybody, but you don't have to like us, or you don't have to like me. But if you are somebody who sort of like doesn't really like the YouTube resellers, fair enough. Drop a comment below. Let me know why, and let me know what your thoughts are behind it, because I wanted this conversation to be as much both sides as possible. Obviously, that's going to be difficult because most people watching support my channel and they support YouTube resellers, so it's difficult to have like that balanced view. So if you are watching it back and you're not keen on us for whatever reason, drop a comment. I'm happy to receive your comments, but just keep it nice, because there's no need to be nasty. I always said if I ever see Car Boot Chris, I'm going to hug him, and it came true. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You did. You did. It was at Runcorn, wasn't it? I was walking through Runcorn. Was it Runcorn? It was the undercover Car Boot, wasn't it? And this guy stood in front of me and said, "Can I have a hug?" And I'm like, yes. And it turned out to be AMPR. or one half of AMPR. So yeah, I was kind of, I must admit, AMPR, before I knew it were you, I was hugging, but I was also making sure I was aware of where my wallet was at the same time. No offense. Bamboo Bat says, I love watching your videos. Thank you, Bamboo Bat. I appreciate your comment. But yeah, I'm open to both sides of the argument. If you've got an opposite side of the argument that you think is a fair point, then please put it in the comments below. But please be respectful about it. I'd like to think I'm a respectful person back, so please be respectful to me. Otherwise, I'll just delete it. Emsden UK said YouTube resellers spend hours making content for the community. The monetization, they do get paid, but it can be peanuts for the amount of time you spend making the videos. Yeah, I mean, I'm at how many subscribers do I have on YouTube? 13,400, I think I am at now. 13,400, which is quite a lot now, isn't it? And I appreciate absolutely everybody who's joined the channel. So I do make a bit on the videos. If a video gets, let me tell you how much roughly I earn on a video. Let me just try and figure it out in my head. Every video is different because it depends on like your click rate or your ad click rate or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is, but there's a rate you get for every video, and every single one is different. I think at the moment, for every video that you get 1,000 views on, so for every 1,000 views, I probably make about eight quid, something like that. So if a video gets 10,000 views, I'll probably make on average about 80 quid. Although I have got some videos that have got like non-reselling ones that have got like over 100,000 views that haven't made that much money. So it varies a lot. But I would say the reselling ones, for every 1,000 views, it's probably about £8 on average. So you can make some money on it, but bloody hell, I've worked hard to get to that point. I've been on YouTube since 2015, putting videos out, reselling videos. I mean, before that, I had videos on as well. It's bloody hard work. And if you break it down per hour, what I'm earning, you wouldn't do it. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know what the per hour rate is for YouTubers in our sort of sector as reselling. It would shock me the amount of time that I put into it. So yeah. Anyway, we're coming to the end of today's episode. Let's see if we've got any more comments before we finish up. Sweeney says, Sweeney's got the secret. Everybody, hold up. Sweeney has got the secret. Chris, the only secret is it's hard work and enjoyable at the same time. I thought you had the secret then, Sweeney. Bloody hell. You had me excited then. Tea Cakes. Tea Cakes says YouTube resellers are solely to blame for the Lego brawls. I've not seen one of these Lego brawls. I'll tell you why I haven't seen one, Tea Cakes, is the minute I see Lego, I go the other way. The only time I'll ever buy Lego if it's new and sealed in a box. I hate Lego. Some people love it. And I understand if you've got the knowledge on Lego and you like dealing with it, great. I hate dealing with Lego. Sharon says, I honestly do not know how you find the time to do YouTube. I don't know either. I just enjoy doing them. And I'll carry on for as long as I enjoy doing them. I make a percentage of my income on YouTube now, but it's not a big percentage. I couldn't even tell you what that percentage is. I'd have to look. I might know actually when I do this year's or last year's tax return. I might actually be able to work out what last year's percentage was. It'll take a bit because it's not broken down sufficiently enough in a sole trader's books. It just comes as income, but I could search it on QuickBooks. I could, because whenever I get my YouTube income, I label it as YouTube income. So I could search out how much I've got on YouTube income, and then I could work out a percentage of the year. I'm going to do that, actually. I'm going to work out what my percentage is. If I had to guess right now, I'd probably say it's 10%. That's a pure guess. 10% of my income is YouTube. When you consider the amount of time I put into it, that's not a lot. Linlin says, I call you resellers fun employed. Yeah, because Linlin's not a reseller, by the way. Never a sad soul among the lot of you. Well, we are sad when eBay breaks, so, and we are sad when we don't get any sales. So that's only natural, though, isn't it? £80 is nothing compared to how much time and effort to edit those things take. Yeah, one complaint, you make it look easy, but it isn't. No, it's not easy. It's not. Jane Ryan's got a comment. It does my head in when a car booter says to me it's a lot more on eBay. I do say you're not paying the fees. Oh, yeah, true. The thing is, what I always think, and if I feel like somebody at a boot sale who's a seller, sorry, I need a drink. Sometimes I will say this to sellers at boot sales, but I'll only do it. I'll only say it if I feel like they're open to the conversation, and I would never say it in a nasty way. Sometimes I'll say, or I'll think, you could get a lot more on eBay, yeah, but are you willing to put the time in to make that money? Are you willing to do the following things? Clean it up. Spend the time to research the value. Spend the time to list it on eBay. Spend the time to photograph it. Store it in your house until it sells. Package it up and send it through the postal system. Be willing to accept the returns when it doesn't fit. And deal with all your taxes on the top of that. So put in your tax return every year. Pay your extra taxes. If you're willing to do all that, because that's what I do, then go and sell it on eBay. But I've had that conversation a couple of times with people at boot sales, but only if I feel like they're open to that conversation. If we've got a rapport going, I'll do it. But otherwise, it's all going on in my head. But that's what you got to be willing to do. If you think that you are happy to get more money on eBay, that's what you've got to be willing to do. Have you ever considered OnlyFans? Oh, now which way are you thinking on this one? Eh? Let's get back to the chat, and then we're going to wrap up this one because I think we've gone over time here, to be honest with you. Hussey's Emporium says, I have the same conversation with Chazers. Yeah. Why not? I think it's a very valid conversation because people just don't understand. Oh, yeah, I'll just bang it on eBay and get more money. Well, go on then. Go on. Bang it on eBay. If you're willing to do all that list of things that I just said, then yeah, why not? Get it on eBay. See if it suits you. See if you've got the time to do it. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you all so much for all your interactiveness and all your comments. I wanted this to be an open conversation about YouTube resellers. I think we've touched on lots of subjects, and I hope you continue to follow me on YouTube. I hope you don't unsubscribe right now. But it's fine if you do. Anyway, we'll call it a day. Please don't forget to hit that like button on YouTube. And also, if you're listening on one of the podcasting channels like Amazon, Alexa, or maybe you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, if you hit the download button, you'll get that episode, you'll get each week's episode downloaded automatically to your device, and you won't have to think about it. And that helps me loads, because as a podcaster on the audio channels, you're counted on downloads, not necessarily listens. You need those download buttons being pressed. So it would be great if you'd like to hit the download button. It costs you nothing, and you'll get all the episodes appearing automatically for you. So it's a Brucey bonus for everybody. And we'll call it a day there. Thanks again. We'll be back again next week for another podcast. So hopefully we'll see you then. I'm just looking for my outro, but I'm going to leave you with the quote that we gave before. And that is, if you think your business is failing because of us YouTubers, then let me tell you this: you've got a shit business. That's it for today's episode of the Everything Reselling podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, to follow, or to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode.